The year 2008 was a turning point in my life. I was still in my freshman year of high school when I began to hear about hydraulic fracturing in Marcellus Shale. Now, being the inquisitive person that I am, I developed a curiosity in the controversy that began to surround the issue of extracting natural gas from the shale. It was also during this time that I began to think about my economic future. National unemployment rates were nearly at 10%, while New York State unemployment rates were at 8.5%. However, I was not truly prepared for what I would discover shortly thereafter. Steuben County has been home to me for my entire life. And while I realized that the United States economy was in terrible shape and that millions of Americans were struggling under it, I hadn't become acquainted with this reality on a personal level. That, of course, was until I discovered that the unemployment rate in Steuben County was over 11%. Suddenly, those unemployment figures on the news were no longer just numbers. In those numbers, I saw the bleak road ahead of me. As time passed, I educated myself on the hydraulic fracturing issue. I became very impressed with the highly sophisticated technology behind the process and the excellent record of safety that the natural gas industry possessed. Most importantly, however, was what hydraulic fracturing in the Marcellus Shale meant not only to me, but to New York State's younger generations. Natural gas development turned Pennsylvania's economy around and set it on the road of prosperity. Well, why couldn't it do the same for New York State? Well, the answer to this question came to me in the form of a letter to the editor of my local newspaper. The paper published a letter to the editor which claimed that fracking in Pennsylvania killed a fish in a stream. The author went on to state that she knelt down next to this beautiful creature and began to cry. And to close the letter, she gave us some of the "we're all gonna die" narrative. We know how it goes. Don't get me wrong. I've been fishing for my entire life, and fish is one of my favorite foods. Now, I never want all the fish to die, but I found this letter to the editor to be incredibly frustrating. So I wrote a response to this letter, which was published in the newspaper a few days later. And in my response, I reminded the author of the young American soldiers who were killed regularly while protecting foreign oil because we aren't allowed to develop domestic energy here in the United States. It's needless to say, I never received a response from this particular author. 2 months later, in the city of Elmira, I attended one of Governor Cuomo's campaign events. After watching him speak, my grandfather and I went to meet the candidate. While we shook hands with then-candidate Cuomo, my grandfather asked him about his position on hydraulic fracturing. He told us that he would make his decision based on science and fact, and not emotion. The governor was an impressive figure who seemed to possess the ability to make up for the Patterson administration's poor judgment and leadership. And I also found his science and fact response to be an indication that I would one day be able to find a job in New York State. In November of 2011, nearly a year after Governor Cuomo was elected, I was the 12th speaker at the first DEC hearing. After speaking, I stayed and watched the remainder of the speakers. 90% of these speakers gave reasons why they felt the hydraulic fracturing should be banned. Reasons why I should not be able to enjoy a stable economy. Reasons why landowners should not be able to exercise their rights. And reasons why farmers, the hardest working people that I know, should be allowed to lose their farms. Dairy farming is New York State's largest industry. I was raised on a dairy farm. I have spent a good portion of my time working on it, and I've truly grown to love it. I feel that there is no better place for a person to grow up than on a farm. The farm is a place where all of life's great lessons can be learned. But the era of the small family farm is on its way out. And I've witnessed the struggle of farmers within my own community. And it's always the same situation. They were just making ends meet to begin with. And now with their property taxes are on the rise, they're nearly out of business. The natural gas below their property has increased their property values, which has increased their tax rates, but they are not allowed to reap any of the benefits of the natural gas. I fear that the farms and farmers that I've known for my entire life may be on the way out, and that my own children won't be able to someday enjoy the same upbringing that I've enjoyed. Right now, as I speak, North Dakota is thriving with an unemployment rate of 3% because of its oil boom.
They don't have Cuomo.
Meanwhile, we are living in a state where the unemployment rate is above 9%. New York is among the 10 U.S. states with the highest unemployment rates, while it was ranked 50th in business attraction. This is unacceptable. New York is home to some of the best universities in the country, and there is absolutely no reason for students to graduate from these universities and not find jobs. Sure, the yoga industry has brought some relief to the state, but the fact of the matter is that we can't base our economy on yogurt, cheese, and wine alone. The wine, natural gas, and tourism industries existed and prospered together in our state for years prior to 2008. There's no reason why they can't exist together now. New York State's motto is Excelsior, which means ever upward. We are losing faith in this motto. Some of us have lost faith in it a long time ago. If you are struggling to make ends meet, or you're losing your farm, it's hard to look at New York State as ever upward. As a freshman in college, I did not want to believe this, but the numbers are there. I'm receiving an education and hope that I'll be able to find a well-paying job after I graduate.
Thank you very much.
I don't want to have to leave my home state to do this, but if a few environmental extremists and a few has-been and never were celebrities are going to regulate not only an entire industry, but also my future, I might have to leave the area that I call home. Governor Cuomo, you are a very capable leader. You know how important natural gas development is for not only landowners, but for the entire state and nation. And you are aware that science and fact have proven hydraulic fracturing to be safe. You know how to get things done. Governor Cuomo, I depend on you. We depend on you. And New York State depends on you. Thank you.